And here we are on a glorious day in the middle of the winter, and none of us really want to be here. And none of us really should have to be here. And certainly Mr. Maldonado should not have to be here, but everyone is. So we're here today because this is the issue. This is the issue confronting New York State. And I got to tell you, as each day goes by, I'm getting enraged, and I'm getting tired of listening to excuses. I'm getting tired of listening to my Democratic colleagues in the Senate say, well, you know, this has to be a top priority. Really? They put about 150 bills out on the floor that have nothing to do with public safety. Not a word about bail reform. Not a word from the governor. Not a word from the Assembly, except the Speaker of the Assembly, not the Republican members who are here. The Speaker of the Assembly says, we're not doing anything. How do you do that? How do you stand up and tell a family who lost their son because of the ramifications of this ill-conceived law? How do you do that? I don't want to be in that position. None of my colleagues want to be in that position. We're all here because this is what people are talking about. We're all here because this is the issue. So when I listen to my colleagues, Senator Martinez, Senator Gorin, and others, and Senator Kaminsky, who was on News 12 last night saying we need to work together. They didn't do anything, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be clear. There was no input. There was no outreach. And I'm tired of reading stories about people saying the people in law enforcement were consulted. No, they weren't. Not the district attorneys, not the sheriffs, not the undersheriffs, not the deputies, not the corrections people, not the probation officers, not the not-for-profit groups like those who deal with domestic violence. They were brought in after the horse got out of the barn. And as a result, the people we all represent, they are not as safe today as they were a year ago. They are simply not as safe as they were a year ago. And the Democrats brought you this, including the governor, and I've said it, I'm going to keep saying it, they own it. They own it. And we're going to hit them every single day. Every single day. Whether you're a county legislator or you're a town official, people are living with the ramifications of this law. I'm sick and tired of it as a legislator. And I know because we hear from our constituents. Look at these signs. What about the victims? Yeah, what about the victims? What about the victims? Public safety matters. Fix bail reform now. This is the only issue that should be discussed this time in Albany. The budget is important, but this is about public safety, and I am very happy to be here with my colleagues today. And by the way, in case you haven't noticed, I care deeply about this. I feel very passionately about this because what they did was wrong. They need to own it. They need to stand up and say, we made a mistake. And I don't want to hear about tweaking. You think the Maldonado family wants to hear about tweaking? No, they don't. They want to make sure that we are protecting victims, that we are actually providing due process, and that we are protecting all of our citizens. That's not happening right now. The law needs to change, not next week, last week. I am happy to be here with my colleagues, and I really want to thank the Assemblyman and the corrections officers for their yeoman-like effort. We stood on New Year's Eve in the freezing cold, talking about what was going to happen, and every single day, there's another bad story. Every single day across the state of New York. Everywhere. It's not just Suffolk County. The law never should have been enacted. The law needs to change now to protect the people that we represent. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Flanagan.